Namaste, my beautiful coven. Welcome to the mat and welcome to this brand new flow. So if you are brand new here, then welcome. My name is Bethany and I am the Yogi Witch. If you aren't brand new, you are part of the coven already, then amazing. It is epic to see you. So if you have been keeping up with my social media over on Instagram or over on the community base here on YouTube, then you will know that I have taken some time off from filming just because my anxiety has gone haywire. So in dedication to that anxiety, to those really horrible feelings, today's flow is an FU anxiety flow. And I really hope that you enjoy it. In today's practice, we are going to get rid of any intrusive thoughts, any worries, any stress that's been holding us back, embracing the wobbles, the belly rolls, the falls, the kind of chaos of a yoga practice, but the beauty of it. As one of my beautiful members of the coven put it in a really gorgeous supportive comment to me, that life is like the moon, it goes through phases. So today we are going to bring ourselves out of any kind of phase that has been holding us back, that's been in the dark, and we are going to move towards the light. So get yourself sorted, and when you're ready, my darlings, we will flow to FU anxiety. Okay, so to begin today's practice, you're going to come either to lie down flat on the back or into a comfortable seated position with me. Choice is completely up to you, but we are going to start today's yoga practice with a little bit of saging and to kind of release all the negative energy and just cleanse the space. So if you work with sage, you might choose to light yours now. If you don't, do not worry. Know always that I'm sending this sacred smoke from my mat to yours as we come together as a collective coven. Beautiful. Eyes are closed, starting to even out the breath here. Even inhales. And even exhales. Maybe if you're lighting your sage, you're going to start to breathe in deeply this sacred smoke. Letting it fill the lungs before slowly exhaling. Imagining that when you exhale, you're releasing kind of all these inner demons, all these things that have been holding you back. That's been keeping you hostage. And know that you are in a safe, you're in a kind space as we come together as a beautiful coven to create magic through our movement, but more importantly, to find our inner power and to create peace in the mind. So keeping those palms flipped towards the sky, let's draw in the energy of the sun, of the moon, of the stars, the healing energy. As we take a few moments just to even out the breath. Beautiful. Before all together, my darlings, we take a beautiful deep inhale. And on your exhale, extend those arms, bring in the fingertips to the mat and finding length through the crown of the head. From here, we're going to begin to take some slow circles with the neck. So bringing that neck all the way forward, taking it all the way back. Moving it in one direction before we move and take it in the other. Now remember, it doesn't have to go fast. We're just making this movement with intention. Releasing any stiffness that we have in the neck. Channeling our inner Beyonce hair flip here. Beautiful. Before we gently bring the head back into the center, blink those eyes open if they're closed. On our inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead, left hand, right wrist. Lean over to the left hand side, keeping those hip bones glued to the mat. Yes, before we move through center, right hand, left wrist, lean over to the right hand side. Beautiful, moving back into the center, bend those arms into cactus arms, holding here for 3, for 2, and for 1. Beautiful, hands come to the mat in front of us. Let's roll our way into an all fours position, so coming to our tabletop. And we're going to begin to spread those fingers here, so middle fingers face towards the top of the mat. And we're going to take those knees a little bit wider than hips width apart, untuck the toes. From here, begin to take some free movement with that spine. So remember, we're not looking for perfection in this movement. We are looking and becoming aware of how the body is feeling. Maybe you're craving a back bend. Maybe you're craving the curving of the spine, anything at all, but take your free movement, close the eyes, and just have a little bit of fun with it here. No right or wrong. Beautiful. Keep it going. 2 more breaths. Yes. Before we bring the big toes to touch, take those knees wide and settle back to your child's pose. So stretching those arms nice and wide in front of you, lifting the elbows off the mat. Start to activate this child's pose, but starting to bring a bit of sense of strength into the upper body. So feeling those shoulder blades come close together, forehead to the mat. And you can begin to take a little wiggle of that forehead from left to right. Massaging the space between the eyebrows. Beautiful. Before we bring the head into stillness, inhale. On your exhale, round into the shoulders, roll the body forwards, drop into upward facing dog. Option to lift the thighs off the mat here. Inhale. Exhale, lower the knees, stretch back into child's pose. So not tucking those toes under, keep them untucked here to really activate this pose. Beautiful, taking it 3 more times. Inhale to roll all the way to upward facing dog. Option to untuck the toes, find a lift here. Yes, before we lower the knees down, hips to heels. 2 more times. Inhale, roll forward. Find your strength. Find length through the crown of the head. Press to the tops of the feet. Beautiful. Before we lower the knees down, hips to heels. Yes, 1 more time. Inhale, roll the body forward. Find a lift. Upward facing dog. And then this time on your exhale, roll over those tippy toes. Any movement that you like to find your way to downward facing dog. Beginning to bend 1 knee, bend another. Taking a little bit of movement here to feel good. Anything that your body is craving. Beautiful. There's no right or wrong answers here. And remember, if this is your first down dog in a while, then those legs might feel a little bit stiff, so tuck the last rib in, soften the knees to push the hip bones higher and gaze towards the ankles. Finding a little bit of rooting for 3. for 2. Beautiful. For 1, we bring the big toes to touch. On your inhale, sweep that right leg nice and high to the sky. Bend the knee off, split dog. And keeping that heel glued to the glute, we're going to begin to take a beautiful big circle in one direction. Yes, move and take it in the other. Before we inhale to split dog, on your exhale, going to draw that knee to the chest, curve into the shoulders, and step between the thumbs. Lower the back knee down. Hands stay to the mat. As we walk this front foot forward, lift the foot and find a half split here. Option to go a little bit deeper by leaving the left hand to the mat and pulling the right arm all the way into the sky. Inhale. Exhale, release right hand down, bend into that front knee, dragon pose here. Options to stay on the hands, options to bring the hands to the knee and find length through the crown of the head, untucking the back toe here, open up the hips. Yes, 2 more breaths. That front foot's working strong. Remember, make this an active stretch, my darlings. F-U anxiety, we got it. Inhale. Exhale, hands come to the mat. We tuck the left toes under. Take as much movement as you like, but we're going to lift the leg up. First, find a way to down dog and then lift that right leg to the sky. Bend the knee off, split dog. Inhale. Exhale, draw the right knee to the right wrist and lower that leg to the mat. So start to pull the right foot over to the left hand side. We wiggle back with the left leg using any props here, but coming into our pigeon pose. So move onto the fingertips, find a back bend here. Open up that heart. Remember, you can soften this pose as much as you like, you can activate as much as you like. This is your practice, darling. But we're going to hold this pigeon pose for 3. Holding for 2. On your 1, relax the hands to the mat. Tuck the left toes under and we step back to plank this time. Following me, we press off the tippy toes. Lower the knees down, bend those elbows. Inhale, find upward facing dog. Glance back at one foot. Move through center, glance back at the other. Before we bend the knees, tuck those toes. Back to downward facing dog. Bring the big tippy toes to touch. Inhale, sweep left leg high to the sky. And then bend that knee off to split dog. Begin to take those circles, squeezing the right heel to the glute. Right heel, left heel. Moving and taking these circles in one direction. Move and take it in another. Yes. Before we inhale, split dog. Exhale, draw this knee to the chest, curve into the shoulders and step between the thumbs. Lower that back knee down. Beautiful movements. We wiggle the front foot forward a centimetre or 2. Lift the toes and find that half split here. Again, option to stay here. Option to bring the right hand to the mat and pull the left arm all the way to the sky. Holding for 3. Holding for 2. And 1. Beautiful. Relax left hand down. Bend into that knee, sinking into that front hip. You can keep the hands to the mat or you can follow me by bringing the hands to the knee. Sink low to dragon's pose. Holding 3. Holding 2. And for 1, relax the hands to the mat, making your way back to that split dog with as much movement as you like. We sweep left leg to the sky, bend the knee off, whoop, ooh. Slipping, inhale, exhale, draw left knee to left wrist and lower the leg to the mat. Slide back with the right leg, find your way to pigeon pose, coming onto the fingertips, using any blocks here, find that back bend, Close the eyes, breathing deep into the belly here. Two more breaths. Find length. Beautiful. Before we inhale, exhale, relax the hands to the mat. Tuck right toes under, step back to plank. Following me, we press off those tippy toes, lower the knees down and bend those elbows. Inhale, find upward facing dog. Glancing back at one foot. Moving through center, glance back at the other. Before we bend the knees, meet back briefly in a downward facing dog, pedaling out those legs, bending one knee, bending another. And then from here, we're going to gaze between the thumbs, take one big step, take a few little steps to bring yourself to the top of the mat. Bending the knees, find the elbows, we let the body ragdoll here. Shifting your weight forward, let the top half of the body just hang completely heavy. On your next inhale, fingertips to the mat or hands to the shins to gaze, what was that? To gaze forward, straighten the back. And then bend the knees, roll the body gently to standing vertebrae by vertebrae. Lift those arms up and overhead. We inhale. Beautiful. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Shift your weight into that right leg. We step back with the left leg, high lunge, pressing into that back heel. Bend into the front knee. Sweep those arms up and overhead. Inhale. Beautiful. On your exhale, pivot that back foot. Find your way into your warrior two. And for this warrior two, we're going to flex those hands, protecting our sacred space. So find alignment from the wrist, elbows and shoulders. We hold 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Extend that front leg and pivot from the hips into your Trikonasana pose. Keeping this top arm pulled all the way back. Keep this top hip lifted. Holding 3, 2, yes, and 1. Bend into that front knee. Sweep right arm up and overhead. Left arm behind the back. Reverse warrior here. Beautiful. Opening up that heart. Holding for 3, for 2, and for 1. Beautiful movements. Briefly roll back into warrior 2. Before hands come to heart center, we're going to pivot on the back tippy toe and step all the way to the top of the mat. Shifting your weight into that right leg, we're going to find our tree pose here. So tuck that tailbone under, bring the core in, and maybe right heel stays on the ankle. Maybe you move it to the calf, or maybe you bring it all the way in to the thigh. Hands come heart center, just a simple balance here. Concentrating on rooting down through that standing leg, concentrating on just keeping your vision, softly gazing at a drishti in front of you. Finding length through the crown of the head. We're just going to hold for a couple of breaths here. No crazy transitions, just being in this moment. Remember, F-U anxiety. Two more breaths, in through the nose and out through the nose. We inhale. On your exhale, gently release the left foot next to the right. And inhale to sweep the arms up and overhead, mini back bend. Before we bring the hands to heart center, shift your weight to that left leg. Step back with the right. Let's balance out each side of the body. So pressing into that back heel, bend into that front knee, and sweep those arms up and overhead. High lunge, rolling the shoulders away from the ears, whoop, and bending into that front knee. Feeling so strong and rooted here. The fact that we came to the mat, the fact that we took back control of our emotions, of our mind. We inhale. Exhale, float your way to warrior two. Flex those hands here, feel the strength as it is literal magic coming through those palms. People, embrace the witch, wake the witch within. Protect your space for 5, for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Extend the front leg, pivot from the hips. Trikonasana pose, triangle pose, gaze up to the top fingertips. We inhale. Exhale, bend into that front knee, wrap right arm behind the back. Left arm floats up and overhead here. Reverse warrior, keep bending into that front knee, feeling so strong here. You've got it. Holding for 3. Holding for 2. And for 1. Beautiful transition. Move briefly back to warrior 2. Before hands come heart center, pivot on the back tippy toes, and we step all the way forwards. Immediately coming into our tree pose on the other side, shift your weight to that left leg and explore your tree pose, wherever that tree pose might be. Whoop. But tucking the tailbone under, find length through the crown, the head, belly button comes in and up those ribs. Beautiful. Holding 3 more breaths. Embrace the wobbles. We got this. Holding for 2. And for 1, release right foot next to left. Inhale, mini back bend here. Exhale, bend the knees, and we forward fold. Getting a little stretch of the legs, we're going to bend into the left leg, extend the right, and pull this right arm all the way to the sky. Inhale. Exhale, release right hand down, bend into the right leg, extend the left, pull the left arm to the sky. Beautiful, release left hand down. Inhale, we gaze forward to create length through the spine. Exhale, plant the hands down, step back to plank. Following me, we press off those tippy toes, drop from the top or drop from the knees, but bend those elbows close to the chest. Inhale, find upward facing dog, glancing back at one foot, moving through center, glance back at the other. Before we lower the body down onto our forearms, saying a little hello to our Sphinx pose here. So we've done some gorgeous forward folds. Let's open up this heart chakra. So more often than not, anxiety really kind of takes over how our heart is feeling. And in physical ways, obviously, and in emotional ways. So we might feel heart palpitations, we might feel breathlessness, and then we might feel like there's just too much going on in the heart. We just can't release it. Sphinx pose is a beautiful, strong pose for this, used in yin yoga, restorative, and vinyasa. But what we're going to do, we're going to point those toes either corner of the mat, not dumping all our weight into the chest. Roll the shoulders away from the ears and create length through the crown of the head. Close the eyes here. Holding 5 breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. Giving yourself a moment to push away any anxiety. We don't need it, we don't want it. Remembering that we hold the power to release, to welcome in, and to manifest, even when those little voices in our head tell us otherwise. Knowing that we've come together as a collective coven, and that there's power in this coven. 3 more breaths. When you're ready, we take a beautiful deep inhale and a slow exhale. With control, we're going to bring one hand on top of the other, press into the palms to lift the elbows and lower the body all the way to the mat, giving those hips a little bit of a wiggle here. Maybe bending the knees, taking a few ankle rolls in one direction, taking them in another. Before we relax the feet to the mat, finding any side to roll over on, we're going to roll all the way on to the back here. And begin to hug these knees into the chest, taking a gentle rock from side to side. So we've got 2 more peak poses to go, which is a shoulder stand and a plow pose. And these are beautiful ways to kind of not only stretch the back, but to kind of quiet the mind, as they are poses that require a lot of concentration. So if they aren't the poses for you, then invite you to take a bridge pose, a supported bridge pose, or maybe just stay chilling here in kind of reverse child's pose. But if you're happy to follow me into your shoulder stand, what we're going to do, giving myself some room, is we're going to lift those legs all the way to the sky, catching the hips with the hands and creating a foundation with those hands. We're going to find real strength through those tippy toes, so pointing them here, giving yourself a moment before we begin to flex the feet, engage that core and send the tippy toes overhead. First time doing plow pose in a while. Giving ourselves 3 breaths here. For 2. And for 1, we lift one leg. We lift another before bending the knees to the chest and roll the body back into the mat. Hug these knees close. Finishing off with our twist, we inhale through the nose. Exhale, allow those knees to fall over to the right hand side. Gaze floats to the left. Inhale, move those knees through center. Exhale, switch your twist. Inhale, my darlings, bring those knees to the center, extend the legs, float those arms overhead and give yourself a beautiful full body stretch. Wiggling out those fingers, those toes, taking, any head rolls that feels good to you, any final poses. And you're going to come into a comfortable Shavasana position, maybe choosing to lie on your back, maybe coming into seated, anything that feels good to you. I'm going to come into seated to light the stage for the final time. So getting yourself comfortable, close the eyes, and we're going to find a few moments of stillness here, of peace, honouring our practice with the most important pose of all, our Shavasana. And like I said, I'm going to close this practice with a little bit of staging just to release any emotion that has come up during this practice. And that's okay, that's normal, that's what we want. We want to release ourselves from these emotions. So if you're feeling a bit teary, maybe a little bit fearful, that is okay. Just release it now in this final pose. You don't need it, my darlings, you don't need it. Always remember you have the power to welcome in, to release, and to manifest. So ending our practice today with one final round of smoke cleansing. And releasing ourselves of any final toxins or negativities or worries that we just can't quite shift. Keeping those palms flipped up to the sky wherever you are. Asking the sun, the moon and the stars to lend us the healing, their magical energies. Making those exhales longer than our inhales. And if you'd like to stay here in your Shavasana a little bit longer, maybe choosing to journal or to just let yourself fall asleep, know that you are more than welcome to do so, sending all my love and all my healing to you. If you are ready to come out with me, you're going to take a little wiggle of the toes, the fingers, bringing a little bit of movement to the head, to the neck, and maybe even giving yourself one final full body stretch. Sweeping those arms up and overhead. Before we bend one knee, we bend another into the chest and allow ourselves to find our way into a seated position, taking it nice and slowly. There's no rush here. But once you've found your way to a seated position, we're going to take one hand to the heart, take another to the belly, and just finishing off with a few cleansing breaths using the power of 3 here. We breathe deeply in through the nose, filling the lungs, filling the belly, hold, and then with force, all the way out. 2 more times, inhale, hold, and exhale. Final time, inhale, hold, and exhale. Bringing hands to prayer as we resume our normal breath, and just give a bow of gratitude here to the strength of our minds for finding our way back to the mat, for the strength of those in the coven for coming together and sharing our healing energies. And as always, from me to you, thanking you for allowing me to guide you through today's FU anxiety flow. So don't forget, I do upload 3 free flows a week, and over on my channel, you will find an entire playlist dedicated to yoga for anxiety, meditations, etc., etc. But thanking you so much from the bottom of my heart for joining me here today. And know that you are powerful, you are magical, and you have got this, even if those little voices tell you don't. I promise you, you do. Sending all my love from my mat to yours, my darlings, and I look forward to seeing you again here soon. Blessed be.